And good afternoon, everyone, from sunny Mexico on the beach in San Felipe. I'm very excited to be with you today. And as I always say, it's with the authors and speakers visibility playground. And that's who our guest is coming from. And we have a great conversation we're going to have today because we're going to talk about how to manifest what you want into your life. I will be right back. And welcome back. I love this topic that we're going to talk about today, manifesting what we want into our life. Have you ever tried to do that? You know, there's rules to it. You don't get to just say, oh, this is what I want, and it materializes. And I've tried to tell people this many, many times, so I'm very excited that we have the guest today that we do. And one of the things that we have the biggest problem, well, not we, maybe you, because we decide what it is that we want, and then we get all distracted and we start chasing other shiny things. I bet you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then we forget what we said we even wanted, and boom, it's gone. And then you go, oh no, I can't manifest. That doesn't work. Well, when you can manifest from the ethers, it changes everything in your life exponentially. You just wouldn't believe it. I've been doing it for the majority of my life since I was 16 years old. And I wasn't as lucky as you're going to be today because I had to learn the rules on my own. But today, I hope you have your pen out because you are going to learn the rules for manifestation. And I think you're going to love it. Now, our guest today, she's one of my favorite people. Her name is Hila Esters, and she shares straightforward transformational process that empowers and positions you to create progressive changes in your life. And this show today is going to do exactly that if you pay close attention. So let's bring her on right away, and she's going to start sharing with us how to manifest what we want in our lives. Hi, Hila. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm really happy you're here because this is sort of an ongoing question that I hear from people all the time. I bet you hear it too, don't you?
Yes, I do. Because people want to change their lives, and people seem to be stuck where they are and they don't know how to move forward or change their four walls.
Yes, I know. And you know, I was reading a book this morning that Sadhguru wrote, and he was saying how when we stay within our four walls, then we think we're protected. And I think in today's world, it's more that way than ever because we're all trying to stay away from the virus. So we think that we're going to be protected from it. And I imagine we will be until we step outside. So we want to try and think bigger, right? And manifest what we want. So let's talk about how to go about manifesting. What would you say is the first step to doing that?
Well, really, this is a really good time because people are at home and they're more than they used to be. So now would be a really good time to learn to meditate and make decisions about how you want to change your life, you know, what you want to bring into your life or get rid of, and the different things that you can do to make a decision is just write down the things in your life that you don't like, and then the things that you would like to replace those with. And writing those down helps you make a decision to bring them from the spiritual realm into this natural realm. So that
once you write it down, you know, do we have to speak it into the ethers, or do we have to read it every day? Or you told me a great little story about how you found your husband, and I'd love it if you would share that with the audience.
Yes, I had been married and divorced a couple of times, and I had no intention of getting married again. But I say God. Some people say Creator or the universe. God came to me and He told me that He wanted me to get married again, and I disagreed with Him for about a year. I said I don't want to get married again. I didn't think there was anybody that would fit me. And so what I did at work one day, I had a legal size pad of paper and I wrote down everything that I wanted in a husband down the first side and 3/4 of the way down the back. And then I tore the paper off of the pad and I held it up in the air. And I said, if you can find me this man, I will marry him. And for that was in June. So from June to September, every day I took that paper out and I read the list out loud. And one day in September, I took it out and the Holy Spirit told me to put it away. So the next morning, I took the list out again and he said, I told you to put that away. So I said, well, I guess you found the man. And it was about 2.5 years later. It was a faith stance. I had to know and believe that this man would come into my life. And I considered myself married. He told me to push the clothes to one side of my closet, only sleep on one side of the bed because you have to consider it done. And so now we have been married 15 years as of this past June.
That's amazing. And did you get everything you wanted on the paper?
I got everything I wanted on that paper and more. I could double and triple that paper. And
Oh my
I didn't think
gosh.
it was possible. He's just a wonderful man.
Wow. Aren't you lucky? 15 years of marriage and it's the perfect person.
Yes.
So see, everybody, you can just write what you want on the piece of paper. And then you heard her tip about reading it every day so that the ethers can hear what you have to say. And then you will be awarded what it is that you want. So let's talk about how, is that all you did? Was you just read the paper? What did you do anything else?
Well, at first I read the paper until he told me to put it away. And I knew from, my life that when God told me something, I trusted that. And so through that 2.5 years between the time he told me to put it away, there were times when the presence of God came in my car. He told me that that this was done. I had to consider myself married, and so I did. And I didn't go to the point. There was one. It's just coming to me right now. There was one time I was at church, and you know how you think sometimes it's time for something to happen and then it doesn't. It's so strong and then it doesn't. Well, I was feeling a little down and I was standing up in the pew and I said, well, is this real? Is this really happening? And the third finger where you put the ring, the skin on my finger pulled down and went back up. I said, okay, it's on. This is it. And it was 9 months later. He came into my life. Actually, he had moved here to Texas and we had become friends, but I didn't know this was the person. And come to find out, 3 days after we were married, he told me that some years earlier, God had showed, he was 20 years in the Navy, he was retired Navy, and he was overseas and he got off the boat and he said, why can't I find somebody just to love me? And God put a panoramic vision of my face up over him in the air there. So
Oh
when
my
we met,
gosh.
he knew who I was, but I didn't know
Oh,
who he was. And so when he came back and asked me to marry him, I was like, I was told I would get a phone call, and I did, and it was him. And he already knew who I was, and we got married 2 weeks later.
my gosh. So
So
you got married 2 weeks after you met him?
no, 2 weeks we met, and then we became friends. We never dated. We were in a
Uh-huh.
dance group, and so we weren't partners, but we got to know each other in this dance group. And then he retired and moved here to Texas. I was still in California. So 14 months later, he came back to visit, and he asked if he could take me out on a date, and I said yes. And so when we went out, we got up. We was a Hotel del Coronado over on Coronado Island, and we got up to dance, and all the music, all the conversation, everything went to the background except for the drum machine. We couldn't hear the person singing at all, just the drum machine. And so, and we had never slow danced before because we weren't dating. And so at the end of the song, everything rushed back in. So we went back to sit down, and I wondered, did he experience what I experienced? And so at midnight, he said, well, can I pick you up? Will you come back? And I said, yes. So the next night we went back over to the Hotel del Coronado. We were sitting there, and I felt the presence all around us, but I didn't see anything. He saw lightning and thunder and all kinds of things going on behind me. And he looked at me and he said, we're going to have to do something about this. And since I had known for 3 days who he was, that he was my husband, I said, well, what are you going to do, Martin? What are you going to do? And he said, we'll have to get some rings. I said, okay. We got married 2 weeks later at church. Yeah, a full wedding. And
My
because
gosh.
they had been putting things away for the wedding for over 2 years, and we just rolled it out.
Wow, that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And I know there's so many out there that would love to have this experience. And
Yes.
one of the things that you mentioned to me was about relaxing into it, which also takes a belief, right? That it's really going to happen.
Yes, it's faith. You have to trust. And the easiest way to trust is that when you agree, like I agreed, I said, okay, I'll get married. When I agreed, I had to know that the man existed. And I had to hold on to that. And so my whole life had to be one of, it's already done. It's already done. And there were days where it wasn't so easy, but since I didn't want to get married in the first place, at first it was really easy. But then as the time got closer, it got a little more difficult, only because I said, well, I don't want a short, fat man, because I put on my list 6'2", 6'2" with hair, good looking, right? And so that's what he is. He's exactly 6'2". He's good looking, and the whole thing. And gentleman, and so that's what you have to do. You have to go to the end result and live there and relax into it.
So when you say go to the end result and live there, does that mean you have to walk around and tell everybody you're already married? What does that mean?
No, because people will try to discourage you. And that happened to me more than once. There were some people that believed me, at my church, and other people were calling him, who is this phantom man, And I said, well, I don't know who it is, but I know he's exactly what I wrote on my list, And so you have to stick to your guns. And the only way that you can do that is that you have to know it's already done. And you have to have faith, trust, and belief. And that is your life. You make a decision and you don't change it.
Yeah, and I think writing it down is so important because I'm at a point now where everything in my business is just popping. And I constantly get a list. I'll sit down in the morning and I'll do my meditation, and then I get a list of things that I'm supposed to do. And don't ask me where they come from. I mean, they come out of the ethers. But as a result, and even writing my book and downloading all that into the book, it's won award after award after award, and easily went international bestseller right in the middle of the pandemic. And, anything I do with it, it makes magic. And I know why. And I was just told, you're going to write this book. That's all there is to it. You're just going to write this book. And so I had to put my head down for 2 years and really focus on this book and get it out there. And it's just amazing what it's done as a result. And so what I'm saying is that the importance of writing it down so you kind of know where you're going, then you have a roadmap of what to expect. Wouldn't you agree, Hila?
Right. I was told the same thing. I was told to write my book, as we've talked about, it was a vision of a puppet. And when the puppet disappeared, the words miraculous realm of heaven on earth appeared. And then I was downloaded exactly how to write the book. It's in 5 sections, and it starts with the decision. And the decision is from awareness. And where does that awareness come from? It comes from the spiritual realm, that it's already done. And it makes you think bigger. And that's what we have to do in business. If we feel like we're stuck, we have to get in a position to relax and be able to hear and create and know that what we're doing is original, because we can't copy. If we copy, nobody will know, nobody will want what we're doing, because it's already been done.
Right,
So
exactly.
awareness is important in meditation.
So you said the first chapter in your book is about decision. Tell us a little bit more about your book, would you?
Yes, it's in 5 sections. And here it is, the miraculous realm of heaven on earth. The first section is the decision. And it starts with a puppet that was totally distraught. Now, you don't have to be distraught in your life. You could be a business person that has hit a glass ceiling and you don't know how to go forward. What we are to do is multiply, restore, replenish, take dominion over the things that are holding us back. And we have to be aware what those things are. And so through meditation, through asking the question and listening, we find out what is hindering us. And then there's a purpose. The next section is the purpose. We have to know what our purpose is before we can have the third section, which is the plan. And this plan comes straight from the spiritual realm. And it's a plan based on what is already completed. And so there's no way that you cannot reach the end result of something that is already done. And then the third section is strategic position. You chart your course to the end result. And you do it in a unique way, because we are all unique. And so the way you chart that course is according to your purpose and according to your plan. And then the last section is excellence and preeminence. And so you have preeminence, because once you make that list, you've made that decision, you stick to it. And as you stick to your list and you only go in that direction and say no to everything else, it's like the winds will knock a ship off course, but that rudder, you know your coordinates. And so you go to your end result. And that is the same way with your business. It's the miraculous realm of heaven on earth.
You know, I really agree with that about it being the same way with your business, because as I said at the top of the show, I see so many people who say, oh, I want this, I want that, I want the other thing for my business. I want to help other people. I want to make a difference in the world. But then they keep getting knocked off course because something else comes along that's shinier than them waiting for whatever it is that they're trying to manifest. And I can't tell you how many people that I have supported as a business coach to create programs that would sell really, really well. But as soon as they get their programs out there, it's like they're looking for the next thing. They don't even do the program. And then I talk to them, I don't know, some months later, and they'll go, oh, I'm doing something else now. It's like, why did you pay me? What was the purpose of developing your programs? And especially since they're so easy to sell. And I say to them, are you making money now? Well, no, I'm doing something else, and I'm really trying to start making money. Well, that's the problem. They get to the end, and I think maybe, I don't know, you tell me what you think about this. I think that once they get their programs up and running and they have to actually do it, I think they get scared because they can't sell it. And then they don't make money, and then they have to go start all over again. And then that takes time, and they don't have to sell it, right? I think that's what the problem is. They just don't want to sell it. And that's why I've seen so many of them. They go out of business. They just can't even stay in business. It's ridiculous.
Well, it's a repeating cycle. And I have a PDF on that. Are you living the same week on repeat? break the repeat cycle. And there's so many people that do things over and over again, whether it's a business or marriage and divorce, or they can't get their children to follow what they think they should do, instead of treating each child as an individual and unique. And so people that get to the end of something and then they want to start something else, we have to stay the course, because at the end of that, it's like I tell people, when God gets to the end of something, he's already speaking toward in multiplication and improvement and replenishing. And so this is what we do. We're here to create. We can create. That's why there's roots. I see roots on a seed, or limbs on a tree. It's not just the one stalk that comes up, but even corn has kernels. And so we can have that one course, and instead of being creative to multiply it and maybe make it into more courses, like you say, they get afraid. They don't take the time to meditate and see how they can multiply what they have and stay the course.
Yes. And they go out of business and then they're done. And they used to say, oh, I had to get a job. I'm like, well, your course was $6,000. How long would it take you to make $6,000 in that little job? They just don't see the big picture. And that's one of the things that you were saying about thinking so much bigger. They think in such a small avenue that they can't even see what's right in front of them.
Right. And that is one thing that I was told. I was driving home from work one day and I looked over at a business window, and it just looked like a copy of many other windows that you see as far as the advertising. And I said, why can't people be more creative and original and have precision and excellence? And the Holy Spirit said, productions. And so one of my businesses is Cope, C period, O period, P period, E period, because we don't cope with anything, we change it. Cope Productions, creativity, originality, precision, and excellence. And if we take that and apply it to what we create, it only gets bigger. If we take that and apply it to an idea that we have, it expands. And so we don't do it by ourselves, but we tune in to the spiritual realm or to the ethers, and we get these ideas from what's already been completed. You can't think of anything that's not already done.
Yeah, it couldn't be possible. It really couldn't. Although, I don't know. I mean, they do come up with things with technology that's not already done. But most of what's in life has been already done. And unless you were given it from the ethers or from God, as you say, and then it really makes a big impact. Because like my book, Selling Through Your Heart, is all about how to build relationships and sell from a place that has kindness and caring. And you don't have to deal with any rejection. That's the great thing, because that's what goes along with this. And I've been doing it for so long, and I know it works so well that it's really a new paradigm. It's pretty original in how you do it, but I've been practicing it for years. And so now that gives me credibility to teach other people. And now they're selling, and they love the fact that they never have rejection. So what I was trying to say is this sales technique hadn't been out there at all until I put it in the book. And that, I think that's why it's doing so well.
Yes, see, creative and original.
Yes, exactly. Creative and original, and I put it into production. So I know you have a little something for everybody that you wanted to talk about. So would you talk about it now? This would be a good time.
Yes, I have a free offer. It's a PDF. It's called Are You Living the Same Week on Repeat? Break the Repeat Cycle. And so it's in 6 sections, and also it leads you to an online course. And the benefits from it, you can define the things that you would like to change, improve, or have right now. You can define what is hindering your imagination. You're able to develop faith goals to believe for what others call impossible, because with God, all things are possible. Your life is changing because you're learning who you are and what you already possess that can change your life. You have joy, gratitude, peace. They accompany you every day. And number 6, you have discovered the things from your childhood that you would choose to bring into your life now. And so this free offer would lead you into each of those. And it includes a journal also, so you can list the things
You could put
as
your
you
things
go
on
through it.
paper.
That's right.
Yes, right. So, just everybody remember, whatever it is, to write it down and read it every day. That will help you stay focused, right, Hila? What's another point that you
Right.
made today?
Also, meditation. When you write things down and you know that it's already done, and in the spiritual realm, and you're aligning with that and bringing it in, when that comes into your life, you recognize it. It may surprise you, but you know that's it, because you're not doing anything by yourself. And so you will be forewarned. This is it. I know one time when I had a promotion on my job, my supervisor, there was a phone call right at the end of the day. It was 4:15. The phone call came in, and the Holy Spirit said, "That's your job." He never came out of his office to tell me about it, but I knew it was. So 10 minutes later, after I would have gotten off work, I walked into his office, and you didn't do that in those days. I walked into his office and I said, "Is that my job offer?" And he jumped and he said, "Well, yes, but I didn't think you wanted it." And I said, "Why?" He said, "It's midnight to 8." And I said, "I'll take it." And it got me off of the clerk job, even though I was a college graduate. Off, that was the only job I could get. Off of that clerk job onto a frame attendant job, which was $60 more a week, because
Wow.
that is what I desired. And the Holy Spirit told me, "That's your job," when the phone rang.
Wow,
So
that's awesome. And no matter what the hours. And that's another thing. Oh, that's another thing is, if you say something over and over and over, I hear people say, "I need money. I want money. I got to have money. I want money." And then this one gal that I was talking to said, "I need $3,000." And for 6 months, she kept up. "I need $3,000. I need $3,000. I need $3,000. That's all I ever heard her say. And after that 6 months, she got her $3,000. But it turned out that it was an inheritance and her mom died. So you have to be careful, be so very careful at what you decide you're going to manifest, because it could be so very different if you write it down in how you want to receive it. And she said, "I never thought to say anything about how I want to get it." But
that's right.
usually Spirit's the one who decides how you're going to get it, but you don't really want to lose your mom at the same time. So,
No.
yeah, that was a pretty sad story. But Hila, I just want to say thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it. And I'm so glad you taught everybody how to manifest. So they better not tell me they don't know how.
Thank you for having me on the show.
You are
I've enjoyed
welcome.
it.
So everyone, I hope you remember how to manifest. If you don't, go back and watch this show again. And as I said, my guest today is from the Authors and Speakers Visibility Playground, where we have a referral business mastermind. And we not only give referrals to each other, we also talk to each other about great ideas to do with our business. So I hope that you'll look up the Authors and Speakers Visibility Playground and join us. And it's not just for authors and speakers, it's for anyone who supports that industry. So I will see you next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful week and a fabulous weekend. Take care and be safe.